Yo, what it is, YouTube? It's your boy Nitsa coming back with another video here today. I want to talk about getting manageable vocals, the tracking phase, recording vocals, how you can make it easier for yourself, and a couple options that we have. So let's jump right into the video today. We're talking about how to get vocals to sit into a 2-track beat properly, how to get vocals to interact in a song better. So the very first thing I want to do to you guys today is I want to show you the throwback way of how people would get their vocals leveled. So let me show you. So as you guys can see, back in the day, people would use optical compressors. That one right there that I have is the Golden Age 3A. So people would use the 2A, the LA3A, as well as the CL1B, or any type of slow optical compressor to not necessarily reduce the dynamic range of a vocal, but to make it more manageable, okay? To have less volatility between the highest peak and the lowest peak. This is important when you're mixing vocals in a song because we always want to think about the final push when we're going into mastering. We don't want to have vocals that are all over the place because that's going to make a mastering limiter work harder than it has to. And it's going to just affect the overall song more. So when it comes to managing vocal levels in a mix, it's absolutely crucial. If you have an Apollo Twin, you can simulate that type of workflow, a preamp and a little bit of compression going into your DAW. If you have a universal Apollo Twin, a solo, any type, you can do that through the console app. So usually when I record vocals on the go, when I'm not at home using my hardware, what I would do is I would actually just pull out my Apollo Twin and I would have an LA2A available, or whatever type of optical compression, even a 3A that Universal Audio provides. Let's look at how we can get something like that in Pro Tools. I've got a session right here from an artist that I work with, one of my good artists that I work with, Little Ant. I'll drop the link to his page down below. So let's look at this type of signal that we have right here. He recorded this song with the Focusrite interface, which we all started out with, that little red Focusrite. We all know what it is, but let's look at it though. You can see like there's a peak. If we go into it deeply, there's a peak right here. There's another big peak right here. Then it starts to get a little bit louder. So one traditional way of managing like the level of vocals is proximity effect. Make sure that you always keep your hand in between you and the microphone so you can get a healthy level going in. You don't want to come too close to the microphone because then you're going to get a signal, a take, especially in rapping where people like to punch in and out. You're going to get one take that's quiet and then another take that's all the way up here. So you don't want that, okay, when you're making music. You want to always make sure you're keeping a consistent distance away from the microphone so that you can get a consistent level. That's one way you can help yourself, okay? And that's before you even press record or anything like that. When you're using a preamp or you're using like an interface, like an Audient or Focusrite or whatever interface, right? You always want to make sure that you give yourself headroom. So do not crank the preamp all the way up, all the way. You want to crank it up to like 25% on that little Focusrite or any little preamp because it's easier to bring something up. But once the signal is coming in too hot and it's like already saturating digital clipping, it's hard to take that out, okay? And it's better when you record low because you can keep out for example, you have an air conditioner, anything like that, you can keep that out of your recordings by keeping the recording low, okay? So in Pro Tools, when you're recording, you do input monitoring, make sure it always comes up green. It always comes up green. Don't ever go too far. You should never see red on your recording track, all right? So now the next way I'm going to show you, if you wanted to model like what the Apollo Twin does, right? Compression going on the way in, or the throwback way. In Pro Tools, you can do it like this. You can go to any of your plugins. Let's say any of your optical compressor plugins would work the best. Like let's use the Avid one because that's free. So you want to pull up, go to Audio Suite at the top, and then pull up like an optical compressor like this, right? And then you're gonna monitor it. You want to just pull it up the regular way, okay? Pull it up the regular way first. And make sure it's the first plugin too. You want what we're doing right now is we're monitoring the signal, right? Before because we're gonna print it actually. Kind of like already looked over, like the signal and everything. What we're gonna do is we're gonna not on this insert, but when you go to Audio Suite, right, and you pick out your optical compressor, you might have like the CL1B or you might have Waves LA2A. You can do it whatever. Make sure it's an optical compressor though, because of the compressor action. It's gonna be good for you. It's gonna level things out. So we got our signal right here, right, and then you click render, right. Let me do that again, right. Let me just back down the gain a little bit more. Oh, that's too much. Let's bring it up like this. All right, cool. So you just went from having a volatile signal, right? Like how you previously had, to this, something that's way more manageable. So look at that. Look at how much more smoother that is, okay? And you know that you're still gonna have your dynamics because you monitored it before the fact. So you know it's not gonna be doing like 7 to 10 dB. That's why we want to put it in insert first as your first plugin to see how much it would do. Copy the settings, go to Audio Suite, and keep moving forward, right? So let me back this up. So let's see how my compressor feels about that. Let's play the song real quick. Let's look at this optical compressor, how it reacts first. Then let's print the track with the optical compressor and see how volatile this moves. Let's go.
These people feeling like I'm booted up, prescription drugs. Tell that boy get on my level. We don't take no elevators. Everybody around me steppers. I done popped the Adderall. It got me lighter than a feather. Soon the boats come in, we get them going. They coming in on schedule.
So obviously in a situation like that, we got our 1176 working way too hard. We got it working way too hard. It's doing 5 dB consistently. And the needle is moving a lot. Let's see if we can bring that volatility down when we render it.
I'm booted up, prescription drugs. Tell that boy get on my level. We don't take no elevators. Everybody around me steppers. I done popped the Adderall. It got me lighter than a feather. Soon the boats come in, we get them.
So now that we've printed our vocals through this LA2A, now it's better for us going into our vocal chain because we're not hitting everything as hard, right? Now our compressor, the needle isn't moving as much. Now it's giving us smoother fret compression, which is very important when you go into a fret compressor. You don't want the needle to be moving all around because then it's going to give a pumping effect. Okay, so another thing that you can do too is you can grab NLS channel and you can also print with NLS channel, right? Waves, we go to Waves, plugins. And we pick mono. And I usually use mic. Mic is probably the best one. So mic is modeling this type of saturation, right? And if you want to change like the headroom, you want to get more drive, you can click mic, which models like a real microphone going into the mic preamp of the console. But we're just going to do render. And let me pull this back down a little bit because it will add a little bit of gain. So now there you go. You just was able to model in a box the workflow of having a preamp and an optical compressor right there without having to buy an Apollo Twin or without having to get a real hardware unit like how I have here at my house for tracking rap vocals. Now your mindset when you're mixing vocals, lastly, let's talk about this. Not every song needs perfect vocals. Rather than focusing on trying to get a perfect vocal, ask yourself, what does a song need? If it's like an ambient beat, a big spacey beat, maybe the vocals don't need to be on top of the beat, or maybe it doesn't even need to be perfect. Maybe it needs to be a part of the beat, right? Maybe it needs to be another instrument and slide under the music. If it's a song where you feel like the beat is really open, maybe you want to have the vocals drive the beat. Maybe the lyrics are good, you want it to drive the beat. So maybe you might want the vocal, for example, in this song, it's only just the lead vocal. So I would make the vocal a little bit louder than I usually would because I know it's the only element and it's going to be driving the song. Okay, so that's pretty much the end of the video for you guys today, a quick video. If you have any more comments or suggestions for what type of content I should make, let me know.